What up, YouTube? It's your boy Darius. I want to thank you guys for watching. You guys can be anywhere else in the world, but you're hearing me, and I really appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe to your boy, leave a like, give you guys any recommendation, leave it in the comment section. I get to it as soon as possible. What about do right now? About react to How to Fix the NBA by my boy Jonny Arnett. As you guys already know, Jonny Arnett is one of my favorite NBA, not NBA, basketball YouTubers. You know, the analysis and everything, because yeah, I feel like he's the most fair and most of course he has his own bias and everything. I think that's everyone. Everyone has their own bias, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like he is the most fair, and I feel like, you know, like he actually does give everyone a fair chance, you know, and everything. With that being said though, like by checking out his video on how to fix the NBA. So enough of the blah blah blah. Let's get straight to the video. My boy Kobe, man, rest in peace, man. Look at LeBron and look at Curry, man. Look like MJ, man. Woo, yeah.
One of the most interesting NBA rumors that I've heard in a while is that the league's commissioner Adam Silver is on a short list of potential candidates to be the successor of Bob Iger as Disney CEO. As of now, it's just a report of something that could potentially happen. But if it did, the NBA would be looking for a new commissioner to run the league. With someone else in charge, the game would obviously change, for the better or for the worse. This got me thinking, what would I change if I was the commissioner of the NBA?
Good
Today,
question.
I put together a list of three
And
things.
that's another thing about Jonny Arnett is that he doing it from his perspective. You know what I'm saying? He's not pretending to be like the old big shot and everything. He's a basketball fan. You know what I'm saying? And this is his video, and we are watching and we are reacting to his video. Now we may agree with it, we may not agree with it, but at least he gives his honest take, and his honest take is based on his knowledge of the game. Does that make sense?
To fix the NBA if I was in charge, and let me know in the comments what three things you would do if you were the commissioner of the league. Let me first start out by saying that I'm not a big fan of Adam Silver, and of the way he's ran the league. Without sugarcoating anything, in many ways, I believe he's failed the NBA, and one of the biggest areas that he's done that is in the aspect of flopping.
Oh yeah, I can't stand flopping, man. You know what I'm saying? Someone barely touched you, like, boop. It's like, ow! Hit him in the chin. Oh yeah, like somebody give you a tiger uppercut. They're like, tiger uppercut. Get over here. He's like
The
that.
worst things you can do as a parent, as a disciplinarian, or as a leader is threaten really strong consequences for breaking certain rules, just to weakly enforce those rules when the time comes for the consequences. It makes you into a joke and teaches your subordinates that they don't need to respect or adhere to your authority. That's exactly what Adam Silver did when it comes to flopping. Here's what I mean by this.
What do you mean?
In 2012, the NBA announced
that!
the league was
What the hell are you doing?
on flopping.
What?
The rules stated that any player who flops during the regular season would first be warned, followed by
see that James Harden? I can't stand him.
in increments of $5,000 for each successful flop during the season. When this rule was announced, there was a lot of excitement amidst basketball fans.
It's like either people has a bad armpit, or they are ridiculous.
People believed, including myself, that this marked the end of flopping. We couldn't have been more incorrect, as it seems that flopping has only gotten worse. Since the league has established the rule, there have been only 31 fines given to the players. Hundreds, if not thousands of flops during that time span, and yet only a mere 31 fines. Famous floppers like James Harden and LeBron James have been fined only once, and Chris Paul has never been fined. If that doesn't get the point across, then consider this. How many total flops do you think you've seen in the last 2 seasons of the NBA?
A lot.
Well, believe it or not, the NBA hasn't fined a single player in the last 2 years.
What the hell, LeBron? Look at this.
The NBA hasn't fined
Look, nobody hit you, man. Nobody hit you. What the hell are you doing, LeBron?
Player in the last 2 years. It appears as if Adam Silver has completely given up.
Okay, both guys flopped.
Even if the league was giving out more penalties, a warning and a $5,000 fine was such a weak approach from the start. If I was the commissioner, I would crack down harshly to such an extent that it simply couldn't continue on for that long. For egregious flops, the player would be given either a technical foul or a personal foul. If the flop came from an offensive player, it would be a loss of possession to go along with the foul. Multiple violations within the same season would result in a one-game suspension without pay. If anyone thinks this sounds too harsh, then they probably handle this issue about as well as Silver has.
What? Look at Lester. Why are you sleeping on the damn floor like what the hell? These players.
The next thing I would address is the massive issue of load management.
Yep, that is a big issue, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's like, okay, I understand if you're injured or even you're going through mental problem, but if you have enough to play the game, you know, I bet you, like, you know, you should sit up and play a game. I understand if you miss like a last, like 1 or 2 game of the season, you know, just to get, especially if your team in the playoffs, just so you can rest for the playoff. But if you're like, if this is the middle of the season, and you decide to just, I just want to rest and everything. It's like, come on. You're cheating out the fans who pay a whole bunch of money. Shouldn't see you. Shouldn't see you play. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I understand injury happened. I understand that player go to mental issue, but the mental issue is a serious issue. But like I say, if you have ability to play the game, then go ahead and play the game.
Minnesota's young star, Anthony Edwards, recently stated my thoughts on the matter perfectly.
If there's anything I could change about the league to make it better, probably just all the guys sitting resting. That's the only thing I probably don't like. 80%, you got to play. I don't like all the sitting, missing games and stuff. Like these people might.
And like I said, I understand that you're not 100% at times. You know what I'm saying? But that's, honestly, that's the difference between players now and players like in the 80s, 90s, even 2000. Because if it's like a minor injury, a lot of players just actually push through it. They actually push through it. Larry Bird had a bad back for all those years, and he still was able to play at his best. You know what I'm saying? And what's his name? Kobe Bryant was struggling with leg issue. He was still able to play as great as he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Now I understand if an injury is so great that you're unable to play. But if it's just like a minor injury that doesn't require a rest or anything, a lot of players just push through. But I digress, y'all.
Have enough money to come to one game, you know what I'm saying? And that might be the game they come to, and then you sitting out. You know what I'm saying? So I take pride in trying to play every game because I don't know, it might be one fan that has never seen me play, and I'm trying to play. So that's the only thing I don't like. Guys just sitting out.
This isn't just
and not only that, that's a good part. But not only that, think of it competitive wise. Let's say let's say I'm a rookie and I want to play against guys like Steph Curry or LeBron James or Kawhi. You know what I'm saying? I want to play against the best. Should have shown them that I am just as good as you are. Are you sitting out and play? Come on, man. It's not fair. You know what I'm saying? I rather to know that I'm not the best. You know, when I play against these guys, then they just get an easy win just because you guys are not playing. But I digress.
As many young fans often end up disappointed when their favorite player chooses to sit out the only game that they may ever attend.
Exactly.
If you don't realize just how common load management is compared to years past, then consider this. Last season, league-wide, only 5 players played all 82 games of the regular season, and 13 players played at least 80 games.
Wow.
None of those 13 players were an NBA All-Star.
Wow.
30 years before that was the 1991-92 season.
30 years ago.
That year, 53 players played all 82 games, and a whopping 105 players played at least 80 games. 14 All-Stars played at least 80 games that season, which is well over half of the NBA's All-Stars that year.
Wow.
Decades ago, almost every fan had an experience worth the price of their ticket. But nowadays, you never know who will be on the court on any given night.
Exactly.
Sure, it helps preserve the health of the players, and it helps them be in the best shape possible for the playoffs.
And like I said, I understand that if it's like the last few games, you know what I'm saying, like last 4 games of the season, where you already clinched the playoffs and you want to rest, you know, to the preserve. But like I said, if it's like a beginning or even the middle of the season, it's like, come on.
Players are made millionaires thanks to the supporting customers.
Exactly.
The least they can do is go out there consistently and show their appreciation for the fans by actually participating in the game. But obviously, that's probably a little too much to ask for without the commissioner stepping in and giving some sort of enforcement. Now, I understand that being the NBA's commissioner doesn't mean that you have unlimited power, as the collective bargaining agreement and contracts play a part of this as well. but I would do everything in my power to encourage players to participate.
Yeah.
In most jobs across the United States, if you don't show up for work, then you don't get paid.
You don't get paid, or worse, you get fired. And that's sad too. But we all can't be NBA players because if I'm an NBA player, I'm showing up every freaking game.
There's
or at
some
least
exceptions to that, but for the most part, that's simply how it is. Too many players are paid a full salary while missing a tremendous amount of games.
Facts.
But if their pay was dependent on it, trust me, they would be in uniform more consistently.
Yeah.
I would endorse contract-specific incentives that would reward players financially for playing at least 75 games in a season. A bonus only seems fitting for a player showing up to work diligently. Unfortunately, under Adam Silver, this isn't the reality we're living in, as it almost seems like load managing has his stamp of approval. Speaking of which, today's video is brought to you by...
Alright, my man Jonny Arnett need to get paid, and I respect him for that. Alright, let's get
as commissioners. Just go to stamps.com/Jonny Arnett. The third thing I would do as commissioner would probably be my most controversial decision. I would extend the three-point line. Throughout the years, the three-point shot has completely taken over the game of basketball.
It has. Nobody do the mid-range anymore, and that sucks.
Any player who can't make the shot consistently is seen as a detriment to the offense. Today, the league is shooting about 3 times more three-pointers than they did in the 90s, and about double the amount of the 2000s. The reason for this...
I think the problem isn't so much a three-pointer. I think the problem now is that nobody plays defense. You know what I'm saying? Nobody play good defense anymore. You know what I'm saying? Where they can stop the three-pointers. You get what I'm saying? I think that's the main difference.
Obvious. It's simple math. If your team is shooting 40% from three-point range and 50% from two-point range, over the course of the game, you will score more points by shooting threes than by shooting twos. It's simply the most valuable shot in the game today.
It is.
It no longer matters which position you play on the court. If you're playing, then you're expected to launch the three ball. Now, this is a wonderful thing in the sense that more players are becoming sharpshooters. But the part that isn't great is how it affects the variety of the game.
That's
In my
true.
opinion, the game has lost much of its diversity of style. I'm not saying there isn't superstar players who are uniquely different from each other in today's game, because there certainly is. But they aren't quite as unique as they were in the 1990s, where
That's true.
players were more celebrated for their differences. Shaq was the one who could simply overpower you. Hakeem was the one with the artistic finesse.
That's true.
Ewing was a blend of both. Penny was the point guard who could facilitate and score.
That's
Sean
true.
Kemp was the one who punished you with his freakish athleticism.
Man, that is creepy now because you're being arrested for participating of drive-by shooting, man. And wow. I hope it's not true, but hey.
Barkley and Malone were bullies in the paint.
That's
Just
true.
don't ask them to shoot three-pointers. Reggie Miller was your downtown assassin.
That's true.
Scottie Pippen was your slasher, facilitator blend. And Jordan was the one who had a bit of everything.
That's fact.
These past stars were allowed to thrive in their own unique and specific skill sets. Again, there are plenty of players in the modern game who are uniquely different in their skill set. But they're not allowed to fully embrace those differences because of the now common belief that every star needs to be a ball handler and a perimeter threat.
And that's sad.
Unfortunately, if you don't do both of those things, people start to think you suck. Take Russell Westbrook and Ben Simmons as examples.
Oh, Ben Simmons sucks because he didn't improve his game. That's the thing. That's the reason why folks don't like Ben Simmons. He don't improve his game, and he's just too arrogant to do so. That's the only reason. But Russell Westbrook, man.
Now here's how extending the three-point line fixes this. By increasing the distance of the three-point shot, the conversion rate obviously goes down, which then naturally increases the value of the two-point shot. In that case, players like Joel Embiid can completely embrace his mid-range game and become a modern rendition of Hakeem Olajuwon on offense. Players like Zion Williamson can fully embrace his bully ball style without having to step outside of his comfort zone and shoot three-pointers. And ideally, we would never have to see an awkward three-point attempt again from players like Giannis, as he can embrace his natural skill set. Now, some may say that this would hinder the great three-point shooters of this era, but I would actually argue the contrary. With a three-point line a couple feet beyond what it currently is, Players like Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, and Trae Young become even more special because they're more of a rarity.
That's
If not
true.
everyone can make shots from the distance that they can and is worth more points, then they naturally increase their demand and are celebrated to an even greater extent for their uniqueness. At the end of the day, I think this would work. But even if it didn't, you could just do what they did in the late 90s and put the three-point line back to its original position after a couple years. The risk is minimal, but the potential reward is through the roof. So what do you guys think? What are 3 things you would change if you were the NBA's commissioner? Let me know in the comment section
The first
below.
two, I agree.
Thanks for watching as always.
The flopping and the low management, I agree with that. I think the third thing I would do is, have them play more defense. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's a problem. Nobody plays defense anymore. But hey, this is another great video by Jonny Arnett. What you guys think of this video? Let me know comment down below. Subscribe to your boy. Check our previous videos out here. Peace, love, and rock.